The lights in the examination room were never meant for the public. Cold. Clinical. Silent. But sometime after midnight, whispers began spreading online, whispers that something about the final medical findings connected to YU MENGLONG was not what fans expected. No official alarm. No confirmed announcement. Just fragments of claims moving through the internet like a slow-burning fuse. And suddenly, millions of people were asking the same uneasy question. Was there a secret condition that no one had fully explained? If you've been seeing the headlines, the speculation, and the emotional debates surrounding the events of September 11, 2025, this is the deep dive you cannot afford to miss. In the next few minutes, you're going to get a clear, grounded breakdown of what is actually being claimed, what medical experts quietly caution about, why the rumors refuse to die down, and what viewers should and should not read into the latest wave of online chatter. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this story has become one of the most emotionally charged mysteries of the year. Stay with me. Because once we peel back the noise, the real picture becomes far more complicated. When the first posts began circulating about an alleged hidden condition, they didn't come from official medical channels. Instead, like many viral moments in the digital age, the claims appeared in scattered online discussions, brief, vague, and heavy on implication but light on verifiable detail. That alone set off alarm bells for careful observers. Still, the timing of these rumors made them impossible to ignore. Coming months after the tragic loss on September 11, 2025, emotions across fan communities were already running high. Any suggestion that new medical information might exist was almost guaranteed to spread quickly, and that's exactly what happened. Within hours, speculation threads multiplied. Some users claimed insiders had quietly hinted at undisclosed health complications. Others insisted the rumors were being wildly exaggerated by social media echo chambers. And in the middle of it all, confusion grew. Because here's the key truth that keeps surfacing in expert discussions. As of now, no officially verified medical authority has publicly confirmed the existence of any secret condition related to YU MENGLONG'S passing. That hasn't stopped the conversation, but it does fundamentally change how the situation should be understood. Medical professionals who occasionally comment on high-profile cases have emphasized something viewers often overlook. In complex medical situations, there are frequently multiple contributing factors behind a patient's decline. However, those details are usually protected by strict privacy rules and are rarely shared publicly in full. In other words, the absence of publicly released specifics does not automatically mean something is being hidden. Sometimes it simply reflects standard medical confidentiality. But emotionally, that distinction can be hard for grieving fans to accept. Because when people are searching for closure, silence can feel suspicious even when it isn't. One of the most talked about moments fueling the current wave of speculation came from an unverified post claiming that certain physical indicators noted during post-event examinations were not widely reported. The wording was vague, carefully ambiguous, and almost perfectly designed to spark curiosity without providing concrete proof. Digital media analysts quickly pointed out how this kind of phrasing often drives viral engagement. By suggesting there is more beneath the surface, without presenting confirmed evidence, such claims create a powerful psychological hook. And once that hook is set, the internet tends to do the rest. Still, the emotional impact on fans has been very real. Across comment sections, many longtime supporters of YU MENGLONG have expressed a mix of grief, confusion, and frustration. Some feel there are still unanswered questions about the timeline leading up to September 11, 2025. Others are urging the public to respect the privacy of medical details that may never be meant for public release. This divide has become one of the defining features of the current conversation. Curiosity versus caution. Transparency versus privacy. And right now, there is no simple resolution between those competing instincts. Another important layer to understand is how easily medical language can be misunderstood when fragments circulate without context. Experts repeatedly warn that isolated clinical terms, especially when translated, summarized, or partially quoted, can appear far more alarming than they actually are within a full medical report. Without complete documentation and professional interpretation, public speculation often fills the gaps. And speculation, once ignited, is extremely difficult to contain. What makes this situation especially sensitive is the public image Yu Menglong maintained throughout his career. Known for his calm presence and composed demeanor, he built a reputation that made his sudden passing on September 11, 2025 particularly shocking for many followers. That emotional contrast continues to fuel interest in every new rumor, whether verified or not. Psychologists sometimes refer to this as narrative dissonance. When a public figure's final chapter doesn't emotionally align with the image people held of them, audiences naturally search for missing pieces that might help the story make sense. But sometimes, there are no hidden pieces. Sometimes the silence remains simply because certain details are, and always will be, private. Still, the internet rarely sits comfortably with unanswered questions. In recent days, digital investigators have attempted to trace the origin of the secret condition rumor. So far, the earliest references appear to come from loosely sourced discussion threads rather than any confirmed institutional leak. That pattern has led many analysts to urge caution before treating the claims as established fact. At the same time, they acknowledge something equally important. Public curiosity surrounding Yu Menglong's final days is unlikely to fade anytime soon. Because beyond the rumors, beyond the speculation, and beyond the viral headlines, there is still a deeply human story at the center of all this attention. A story of loss. Of unanswered questions. Of fans around the world still trying to process what happened on September 11, 2025. And perhaps that is why every new whisper, verified or not, continues to resonate so strongly. Because when grief meets uncertainty, even the quietest rumor can sound thunderous. As of this moment, the most responsible position remains clear. There is no officially confirmed evidence of a hidden medical condition being publicly exposed. There is no verified statement from medical authorities supporting the viral claims. And there is no complete public report that provides the full context many viewers are searching for. What exists instead is a powerful wave of online speculation fueled by timing, emotion, and the natural human desire for closure. Whether future verified information will eventually bring more clarity is something only time will reveal. But one thing is certain. The legacy of Yu Menglong continues to move millions not just through his performances, but through the lingering questions that still surround his final chapter. And sometimes, the loudest stories aren't built on confirmed facts. They're built on the silence that follows them. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the internet is reading too much into vague medical rumors, or do you believe there are still unanswered questions about Yu Menglong's final days? Should private medical details of public figures ever be discussed openly? And what part of this entire timeline still feels unclear to you? The rumor didn't explode all at once. It crept in quietly. A late-night post. A blurry screenshot. A single sentence that felt too bold to ignore. Sources say there was something they never told us. Within minutes, that sentence was everywhere. Fan pages refreshed. Group chats lit up. Comment sections filled with question marks and broken heart emojis. And once again, the name Yu Menglong was trending not for a drama role, not for an award, not for a comeback, but for something far more unsettling. The so-called secret condition. Part 1 of this unfolding storm isn't about confirmed medical records. It isn't about official press releases. It's about the moment the rumor took its first breath and how it transformed into a wildfire of emotion across the internet. Because what happened next wasn't just gossip. It was a digital phenomenon. Picture this. It's just past midnight. The world is quieter. The mind is more vulnerable. A fan account posts a cryptic message claiming that during the final medical evaluation tied to the tragic events of September 11, 2025, there were findings not publicly detailed. No proof attached. No official source named. Just enough mystery to spark 1,000 theories. Within 10 minutes, screenshots start circulating. Within 30 minutes, translation accounts amplify it. Within an hour, it's framed as exposed. That word alone, exposed, is powerful. It suggests secrecy. It suggests hidden truth. It suggests someone tried to bury something. But here's where the tension deepens. There was never an official statement confirming that anything had been hidden. The rumor fed on silence. And silence, in the digital age, can sound like confirmation. Fans began revisiting old interviews, old appearances, old behind-the-scenes clips. They slowed down videos, zoomed in on facial expressions, analyzed posture, interpreted fatigue as evidence. Every moment from the past suddenly felt suspicious in hindsight. That's how powerful narrative reconstruction can be. When a shocking event happens, the human brain desperately searches for clues it might have missed. It rewrites the past to make the present feel less chaotic. And in the case of YU MENGLONG, the emotional weight of September 11, 2025 made that search even more intense. Some online users claimed they had always sensed something. Others insisted there were subtle signs of health struggles that weren't openly discussed. A few went as far as naming specific medical conditions, none backed by verified documentation. The atmosphere shifted from grief to investigation. And that shift changed everything. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about loss. It became about hidden truth. Late into the night, live streams began dissecting every angle of the rumor. Influencers framed it as a developing scandal. Reaction channels titled their videos with dramatic words like shocking, bombshell, and what they didn't tell us. Engagement skyrocketed. Because mystery sells. But behind the views and clicks, something deeper was happening. Fans were grieving. And grief sometimes disguises itself as suspicion. Think about it. When someone admired, respected, and followed by millions is suddenly gone, it feels incomplete. The mind wants a reason that feels concrete. Something tangible. Something that explains the unexplainable. A vague rumor about a secret condition offers that illusion of explanation. It gives the pain a storyline. It gives the shock a framework. But does it give the truth? That's where the tension sharpens. Medical professionals who occasionally weigh in on public speculation often emphasize one uncomfortable reality. Not every detail in a medical file is meant for public interpretation. Context matters. Nuance matters. And partial information, when removed from clinical explanation, can easily sound more dramatic than it truly is. Yet on social media, nuance rarely survives. Short captions win over careful paragraphs. Emotion wins over restraint. One particular moment fueled the fire even further. A supposed insider account posted that certain indicators were mentioned during post-event procedures but never elaborated on publicly. The word indicators alone set off alarm bells. What indicators? What kind? Why weren't they detailed? But again, no official verification followed. No institutional confirmation. Just repetition. And repetition creates perceived credibility. The more people shared the phrase secret condition, the more real it felt. Comment sections became battlegrounds. One side demanded transparency, arguing that public figures owe their supporters clarity. The other side urged respect, reminding everyone that medical privacy does not disappear with fame. The clash wasn't just about facts. It was about boundaries. And in the middle of it all was a name that once symbolized calm strength and gentle presence, YU MENGLONG. Clips of his past interviews resurfaced, now viewed through a completely different lens. Moments where he appeared thoughtful were reinterpreted as tired. Scenes where he was quiet were labeled withdrawn. It's astonishing how quickly perspective can shift once a rumor plants doubt. But here's a critical detail often overlooked. There has been no officially confirmed release stating that a hidden medical condition was discovered and concealed. The narrative exists primarily within online speculation. Yet the emotional intensity around it feels undeniable. That's the paradox. Something can feel enormous and urgent while still lacking verified foundation. As days passed, digital investigators tried tracing the origin of the claim. It appeared to stem from a loosely sourced forum discussion, not from a hospital statement, not from a certified medical report. Still, the absence of official clarification left space for imagination. And imagination thrives in silence. The story began to evolve. Some suggested that if there were health complications, they might have been private by choice. Others theorized that management teams often protect personal matters to shield reputations. But those theories remain just that, theories. What makes this part 1 so compelling is not a confirmed diagnosis. It's the psychology behind the reaction. Why do we latch onto the idea of a secret? Why does the word exposed instantly command attention? Because secrets imply depth. They imply layers beneath the surface. And when tragedy strikes, depth feels more satisfying than randomness. But here's something worth reflecting on. Not every unanswered question hides a scandal. Sometimes unanswered questions simply reflect the limits of what is shared publicly. The emotional charge around September 11, 2025 magnified every whisper. If this rumor had surfaced in an ordinary news cycle, it might have faded within hours. But tied to such a painful date, it felt monumental. The timing gave it gravity, and gravity gave it reach. Now the conversation stands at a crossroads. Will official sources eventually address the speculation directly? Or will the silence continue, allowing curiosity to linger indefinitely? For now, part 1 of this unfolding saga remains rooted in the birth of a rumor, not in proven revelation. It's a story about how quickly digital culture can transform uncertainty into headline drama. It's about how grief can morph into investigation. It's about how a single phrase, secret condition exposed, can reshape public memory overnight. And most importantly, it's about the responsibility we all share when consuming viral claims. Before accepting a narrative, we must ask, where did it begin? Before amplifying a theory, we must ask, who confirmed it? Because once a rumor attaches itself to a legacy, it becomes nearly impossible to detach. As this story continues to develop, one truth remains clear. The name YU MENGLONG carries emotional weight for millions. That weight deserves care. That weight deserves thoughtfulness. And that weight deserves truth, not just intrigue. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the original rumor about the secret condition was fueled more by grief or by genuine unanswered questions? When public figures pass away, should every medical detail be made public, or should privacy remain sacred no matter how famous someone is? And when you first saw the phrase secret condition exposed, what was your immediate reaction? Shock, doubt, curiosity, or something else entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm reading them, and your perspective matters. If this deep dive into part 1 helped you see the bigger picture behind the headlines, make sure you like this video, share it with fellow fans who are still searching for clarity, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next continuation. The conversation isn't over. And neither is the story.